in Burlington, Ontario, where I happen to be right now, is where I was ordained, in this very church, as a matter of fact. And Bishop came just for us because we're religious. He comes to our the parishes that we run, and the others, the diocesan seminarians, are ordained at the cathedral. But what an amazing day that was. There was not a dry eye in the room, almost, if you talk to the people who were there. And I have family sitting right here, and I was prostrate here on this floor, and looking straight up at the bishop, listening to those words. It's a bit surreal, and yet here is the fulfillment and the beginning. And so I began my ministry here. I was a deacon here for several months, and now I was ordained and able to spend all my time really in direct service to the community, to the faithful, to the people of God. And having been a student, I really had to share my time, or divide up my time. Of course, it was for that future service, but I always yearned to be in ministry and just spend more time with the people that God would lead to me and me to them. And so I started that here, and it was an amazing thing to be able to hear people come to me with trust and with joy, especially in those first weeks and months after the ordination, ask me how it was going, just to follow up, just to, and really tell me and share with me their appreciation of the friars, which is not, I know, in any way kind of isolated to here, but to hear that about this parish and the years that we've been here, and to know that Friar Maurice, who was my vocation director, now the pastor, Friar Peter, all these people present here with me in ministry, that together we were trying to build up the community, the kingdom of God in our little part of the world. Wow. And so I walk through this church every day, and I just try to hear God's voice and what he wants of me, and how he wants me to help and offer that service in a more faithful and selfless way. And that's where the challenge is. I visit the schools, elementary, also go to the high school. That's been an incredible experience where you have to kind of make the faith palatable, not palatable, but kind of easy to digest for people who are still new to a lot of things, and yet who are so trusting, and whose ears and eyes are actually very attentive. I was amazed to see that. High school may be a little bit different. What I do there is I go around during cafeteria time, lunch hour, and just see the students and speak to them and spend time, see what's on their mind, and just be a presence to them. I do that often with Friar Mo as well. It continues. I like my time with the Knights of Columbus. The council that we have here is a 5-parish council, so I'm able to experience a little bit of what our larger community is about here in this city of Burlington, and hear what other parishes are up to, and what this organization does for them and for so many people in need around this area. Many of them older, and just bringing a faith and a desire for ministry that inspires me. And when I see that, and I see it here in this parish to a great extent, well, it really helps me to, I guess, to say, I gotta be faithful to my call. God called me to this specifically, and it's a high calling because it requires a high amount of responsibility, because it's these wonderful people. Many of them are, well, if they're often retired, spend much of their time helping in the church, how can I help them? This is an amazing, amazing call and task. So I do that, and I pray with them, and often we mourn with them, and we celebrate with them, of course, but also in their own special moments in their lives. One example was that not long after I arrived here, there was a couple that I didn't know very well yet, though I'd come to find out that the one woman has been extremely active here in terms of the funeral receptions. She and a fairly large group of mostly female volunteers, many of them retired from work, come here every time there's a funeral, and they will provide the food. At one time they would make it themselves. Now they order it up, they set it up, they clean up, and they generally care for those who are mourning, who come here seeking a place where they can spend time with their family after a funeral. I go to the funeral, but then I'm in awe of their work. Well, it was this woman who headed the group who wanted me to actually bring closure in her life. I thought, well, how can I do that? Well, you're minister of God. And so what this meant was we would go to the cemetery where some 40-odd years ago, she and her husband had lost a child, and they were young, didn't quite know what to do, and was a funeral going to happen, or was it something else? So it was buried, the child was buried in this city cemetery, had a place and a plaque, but it was sort of off the radar for many years. I went there, and I was able to bless the ground where their child, their first, was buried, who died tragically, but what help, what warmth it brought to their hearts. It was a cool fall day, and yet there I was singing with them in the cemetery and praising God.